What is up, party people? I'm Tiffany and I'm going to be talking about my July TBR for the Summer Splash Readathon. The first prompt is Surf's Up, which is read a book with a body of water on the cover. And I have two options for that prompt. One is The Summer of Broken Rules and the other is The Summer of Skinny Dipping. So The Summer of Skinny Dipping is about this girl. She goes with her family to the Hamptons and there's this guy next door that, she's kind of into. And so it's got the boy next door trope, a lot of summer fun. So we're going to see about that kind of book. And The Summer of Broken Rules is about this girl. She goes with her family to this wedding. They play this game of assassin, and then there's this cute groomsman that she seems pretty into. So it sounds like a cutesy summer read with some romance mixed in. So both of those are good summery contemporary romances. So I'm going to have to just decide and play it by ear, see which one I more gravitate to. So time's going to tell which one I pick. So the next prompt is a lifestyle prompt, which is Pen Pal. Write a letter to a friend. That one should be pretty fun. I don't know who I'm going to pick to write to, but I definitely enjoy writing, so that should definitely be a good one to do. The next prompt is Roots, which is read a childhood favorite. So I picked Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The last time I read the book, I was about 11 years old. So it's been about 10 years ago that I read it. I've watched the movies a lot of times, so I think my memories of the books have kind of like gone far, far away. But I definitely want to see, does it still hold up? I definitely want to see about that. Next up is Get Lost. Go somewhere in town you've never been. I'm definitely excited about this. I moved to Florida about 2 years ago, and I really haven't visited that many places. So I definitely am looking forward to that. I think I'll do more than one place to go differently. I'll make it kind of a challenge for the month to be like, hey, let's go to some new places. So definitely want to find some fun places. I haven't gone to the gym yet, and I'm considering maybe joining a gym or something, so I definitely want to do that. Potentially, I'll go visit a club maybe. And I'm considering maybe a restaurant that I've been to, but a different region. So those are a few options that I have. And it could also be just driving around to a city I've never been to. So I'm going to see about that one. But I'm very excited about that one because, like I said, the place I'm always at is here, at home. So, this is the perfect opportunity for me to branch out and just go somewhere totally new and spontaneous. Next up is Heat Waves. Read a book set entirely in the summer. And I'm going to pick The Summer I Turned Pretty. And the reason I picked this book is because the show just came out on Amazon Prime, and I've been waiting to watch it because I want to do a reread of the book. The perfect little summery read. I do remember enjoying it, even though I didn't think it was some spectacular read. But I think it could be fun, and I really like how short it is. Under 300 pages is perfect for me. It's kind of want to fly through it. And I have started it. I'm about 12% into the book, so not too much into it, but I'm definitely looking forward to continuing it and seeing the reread, how much of my opinions have changed since I read it 2 years ago. Next up is Buddy Read. Read a book with a friend, and I've picked Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. And so I'm buddy reading this with Joharra from The Witchy Reader. I'm definitely looking forward to this. I've never read Percy Jackson, and I don't know. I did watch those movies. I know everyone says the movies are terrible and nothing like the books, but that's the only Percy Jackson knowledge I have. So I really, I never read them, never had interest in reading them. So it's going to be interesting to see, do I like Greek mythology in a middle grade book? I have no idea, but that should be really fun, and I'm gonna have to see what happens. If I really enjoy it, I'm considering, maybe reading the full series. Next up is Easy Breezy. Read a book that is under 200 pages. And I picked Song for the Wild Built. I had a bit of an issue finding something for this prompt because the only short story like that is in a series, and it's like the very last one, and I haven't read the rest of the series yet, so obviously that wouldn't work. I really had no idea what to pick, and fortunately Robin from the book Wormhole, she provided some good suggestions, and I'm really glad she did. This one sounds like a pretty good one. You know, some introspective questions about robots and just, you know, questions about human beings and everything, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. Next up is movie night. Watch a movie set at the beach. I actually have two options that I'm considering. Now I don't know if one of them counts because it's a TV show instead of a movie, but the two options I have for this prompt is the Summer I Turned Pretty TV show. You know, once I finish the book, I definitely want to watch the TV show. And the other one is The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Now, it's not, that movie isn't really something I'm too interested in, but I was looking. There are a lot of beach movies I've already seen, so it was kind of hard to find a proper movie for this prompt, and I looked on multiple lists and it said this counts as a beach movie, so I was like, okay, you said it's set at the beach. So that would be kind of crazy though if I watched the whole movie and it turns out there's like no beach scenes. It's like, the internet lied to me. Next up is Touch Grass. Read one book entirely outside. The book I picked is It Only Happens in the Movies. So the tagline for this book is actually pretty interesting. A clever, deconstructed rom-com that proves that in real life, girl meets boy doesn't always mean happily ever after, or does it? You know, that certainly intrigues me. And I certainly like movies, and it's definitely a book I'm looking forward to reading. Next up is Sunny Days, which is read a book with yellow on the cover. So I actually have a couple options here. So these are the books on my physical TBR that I'm considering. And I'm also considering Beach Read by Emily Henry, but I'll actually get into that. It's part of a different prompt that I'm doing, but that is a book that I'm considering for this prompt as well. So Luckiest Girl Alive. I'm not too sure about this book because it is an adult book. The movie is coming out this year. I'm pretty sure it's coming out on Netflix, but I'm not too sure about this book. I've tried to read it twice, and just, the girl seems to be quite the jerk. I don't know. Like, the only reason I still have it is because it's on my physical TBR. I'm gonna have to see if I do decide to read this, but it's not something I have a major priority for it. Next up is Verify. So this book is a bit of a dystopian where, you know, the government is kind of controlling what's said, you know, what people know and everything. And of course, the main character thinks everything's fine and great. So, you know, there's like a lot of manipulation and everything, and she kind of has to figure out and crack down. I don't know how far the story's gonna go, if it's gonna be a rebellion or what they're gonna do, but it definitely does sound interesting. I will perhaps give this a shot. Next up is Mind Games. Basically, this book is about this girl. She can hack into memories. Like, there's this technology that they can do to, like, either make someone remember something or hack into a memory. But then she meets this guy, and it turns out they do know each other, but they have no idea because there's a lot of files from his brain, like all the files are gone, so he doesn't really have memories, which I don't quite understand that one because it's like, well, how would you like have mobility and be able to speak? But I guess it's not like that kind of memory that he loses. And then the girl, she has a lot of memories missing too. I'm gonna see about this one too. It was interesting when I first heard about it, but I'm not too sure if it's really gonna keep my interest anymore. So I'm just gonna have to decide which book I decide on for that prompt, but it's not too promising with those 3 books on my physical TBR, so I might pick Beach Read, but don't worry, I will be talking about Beach Read for a different prompt here. The next book I'm going to read is Not My Problem. So this synopsis, basically it says, Aiden is in for a semester of ill-advised hijinks, a war waged over student council elections, and an unexpected chance at love. Fixing other people's problems won't fix her own, but it might be the push she needs to start. So I'm gonna have to see about this book. It does sound cute enough. It just kind of sounds fun and just, all around crazy stuff. The next up is Track Star. Participate in a reading sprint. And that's going to be super easy. I do reading and writing sprints. One is on Sunday, one is on Tuesday. Every week with Joharra from the Witchy Reader and Robin from the book Wormhole. So that's not going to be a problem. That'll be pretty easy to do. The next up is the free space. I did Summer Splash and all I got was this lousy bingo square. Boom. Taken care of. Next up is Branch Out. Read from a genre you don't normally read. The book I chose for that one is Damsel. So fantasy really isn't my thing. I'd say that's like the genre that I never read. So this one should be interesting though because it is like a feminist story subverting the trope of the damsel in distress, and all around it sounds very interesting because it's like what we hear where it's like they slay the dragon and they rescue the princess. But here's like she doesn't have any memories and this is kind of what they do. And there's a lot of expectation and pressure and like not giving her like informed consent and all sorts of things that are really bad. And I'm just gonna have to see what happens with this book. Next up is I Like It Picasso. Make a piece of art inspired by a book. I already have some plans on what I'm gonna do. I'm considering either like doing a drawing or also, because visual art is part of art, I'm considering like doing a video like for myself, if I want to post it, maybe I'll post it on YouTube. I think that could be fun to like do a video, book trailer, or just like a scene from the book, something like that. I'm gonna have to see what I decide, but I definitely think that would be a very fun prompt to do. Next up is Play Pretend. Be your favorite character for a day. So basically you make choices based off what your favorite character would do. I'm a little nervous about this one because I really don't know how I'm going to fulfill this prompt. I don't know because of my favorite characters, most of them are like in a dystopian situation or post-apocalyptic, and it's like, well, I don't have a problem like that, and what am I gonna do? Like, scavenge for food? That's not a problem there. I'm just gonna have to see like what I do. Like maybe I'll just like pick a character from one of the books I'm reading and make choices based off what they would do. I don't know if I could really do my favorite character, but I'm gonna still try my hardest to do this prompt. Next up is Hot Girl Summer. Read a book written by a woman. And so this is where beach read comes in. So basically what I want to do for this prompt is read a book written by Emily Henry because I've never read her before and I'd like to. And I haven't read a book written by a man in like forever. So that's why I thought it'd be nice to kind of change it up a bit. Pick an author that I have never read before because it's like, well, easy peasy, pick a book written by a woman, boom, there's one, and it's like, okay, not too special, but this one should definitely be interesting, and I'll see, finally branch out and go into these Emily Henry books. Obviously, the first one is Beach Read. So basically, these two authors, one is a romance writer and one writes literary fiction, and they swap. So, they each write the other genre. And that sounds very interesting. I think that's the one I'm most excited to read. It just sounds really cutesy and very like the perfect thing for a book-centered romance. And I'm just very excited about that one. And like I said, the reason I bring that one up, and I brought it up in that other prompt, is because it does have yellow on the cover. So I'm gonna see if I do decide to read that one, I'll probably count it for that, or that will be like the only yellow book I read. So I'm gonna have to see about that one. Next up is People We Meet on Vacation. So Poppy and Alex, they're really good friends, but they had a bit of a falling out. But they're gonna go on one last vacation and, romance is afoot. I really hope it's good. I've heard some polarizing opinions about this book. I'm gonna have to see what I think. And the last Emily Henry book is Book Lovers. So it's definitely interesting with this book, where it's basically how you see in a lot of those like small town romances, where it's like, you know, this guy who's like a businessman, city guy, comes down to a small town and he's trying to run someplace out of business, but then he falls in love with like the girl who works there, or someone, you know, this girl in the small town, but he had like kind of like a shrewd business girlfriend or something like that, or wife, and you know, he leaves her for the girl in the small town. And so basically this book, it kind of focuses on that girl that keeps getting ditched. And, you know, she's very ambitious and stuff. So I definitely am looking forward to that aspect, but it is a small town read. So I don't know if I'm gonna like it. But I hope I can. You know, it did come out this year. That could be fun. Plus, Robin from the book Wormhole, we're considering doing a buddy read for that. Obviously, if I don't read the book, I can't really participate in the buddy read, can I? But I'm gonna have to see. I would like to participate, but I'll have to see if I do end up reading that book. But I am very excited for this prompt. I very much want to challenge myself for this, you know, pick up an Emily Henry book and read it. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Next up is Outfit of the Day. Create an outfit inspired by your current read. That should definitely be interesting. I don't really like dress up or cosplay or anything like that for a book, so I'm gonna have to see, like, you know, maybe like based off the cover, or maybe like, you know how they do character descriptions on what they're wearing, maybe I'll like wear whatever the character's wearing. So I'm gonna have to see about that one. Next up is Spice It Up. Read a book by an author of color. And so I picked Angelful. So this is my all-time favorite book. I'm very excited to do a reread on this. So basically this book is about this angel apocalypse that is happening, and Penryn, she has this situation. So these angels took her sister, and in that same situation there had been this other angel and they cut his wings off, and so she decides she's going to work with him. And so Raph, he's the guy that his wings were cut off, and they have to work together. It is such a good book, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing a reread. I am nervous though, because I read this back in 2016. It is 2022. You know, 6 years difference? I don't know. I definitely want to like it. What was good is I did do a reread of The Fifth Wave. That was an 8-year difference, and I still liked it. So I really hope this will hold up about the same, that I will still enjoy it. It's just an excellent book. I recommend it to anyone, but I'm definitely looking forward to this. Next up is TPWK. Perform a random act of kindness. Gonna have to see about that one. I'm kind of like not around people, so I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I'll try my best to think of something, you know, when the moment arises, and I'll be like, boom, taken care of. Next up is Summer Vacation. Read a translated work. And I picked The Forgotten Book. What's interesting about this one is, so she finds this old book, and what's really wild about this is anything she writes in the book will come true. So this sounds very fun, and it's like, it does have some fantasy to it, but like still sounds like in a kind of chill, contemporary way, maybe like urban fantasy. And then there's a little romance in here too, so that should be fun. But I definitely look forward to this. I mean, obviously it's translated, so there shouldn't be a problem. But I do know, like, let's say with like a UK book, obviously that's still in English, but there is certain like American terminology or UK terminology. And sometimes there's a reference that obviously people in the UK would get that Americans wouldn't. So I hope there isn't something that's like specific to Germany that would like be referenced in this. I don't know if it would, but if that were to happen, that would be just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I hope that's not gonna be a problem. I can't imagine it would, but I'm gonna have to see. Definitely a cool book that I definitely want to read. Next up is Photo Op. participate in an Instagram challenge. Now, I do not have Instagram, but I'm gonna see if I can, like, you know, like how you can kind of like go on some sites even though it's like, log in. So I'm gonna see like if I can kind of like go on the Summer Splash Readathon Instagram and just be like, oh, you know, they like have you take these pictures and like maybe I'll post it to Twitter or something, or just on YouTube, or just for funsies, just for myself. You know, I'm gonna have to see. I hope I can. I don't know if I'll be able to participate in this one though, but I definitely want to try. Next up is Sandcastle. Read a book featuring royalty. And I picked American Royals. So basically this book is an alternate reality where instead of George Washington deciding to enact the presidency and everything, instead when they offered him the crown, he takes it, and so America is a monarchy. And it kind of like goes through what each royal member, you know, like the princes and princesses, what they're up to, what their like drama is, things like that. I think it could be really cool. I don't know, like, I hope it's not too much in like political spectrum kind of stuff. Like, I don't really like politics. I just hope it's kind of like cool and like a, oh man, that would be crazy if America was a monarchy. Like, I hope it could still be like light and fun and still feel like it could be our world. You know what I mean? Next up is Pass the Aux. Make a playlist inspired by one of your reads. I don't know how I'm gonna do this one. I mean, it does sound cool and I do like to listen to music. What usually happens for me is like I'm listening to music and eventually I listen to it so many times when I'm reading a book that I just associate it with the book, but I'm not like doing it where it's like, oh, I feel like this song fits this story. I'm gonna challenge myself and see if I can do that. I'm gonna have to see how that's gonna all play out though. And the last prompt is share the love. Read someone else's favorite book. And so I'm gonna read The Love Hypothesis. So basically, there's this girl, Olive, and she just kisses this guy, Adam Carlson, and it's a bit of an awkward situation, but then they start fake dating, and I definitely want to read this. I know it used to be a Reylo fan fiction, and when I did watch those Star Wars movies, I definitely did ship them together. You know, I hope it's not too much where it's like, oh yeah, this is obviously Reylo. I think it's just kind of be like, oh, this tall guy and this girl. And also it's like, it's all sciencey, you know? So, but I do hope it doesn't get too much in the sciencey terms, but I definitely look forward to that. And there's not like a specific person that has this as their favorite book. I've just seen it on Twitter, like some people have it like, oh, my favorite book is this. And I'm just like, well, I already wanted to read this book, so it works out. And those are all the books I want to read for July. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye!